Now, interesting outcome here, which also brings me to the conflicting judgment by two federal high courts yesterday. So River State appears right now to be in a legal conundrum. Barrister, let me start with you. The court cited lack of jurisdiction to handle this matter. What is your opinion on that? Do not forget, by the way, that the judge in this case cited the ruling in FCT yesterday by Federal High Court by Judge Omotosho, citing the same lack of jurisdiction.
Well, the law is not a brooding omnipotence in the sky, but in fact prophecies of what the court will say. And once a court makes pronouncement at that level, that is law. The only option that you have as an aggrieved person is to seek redress at an appellate level, especially when it is not a final arbiter. Well, in course of looking at this judgment, we'll try to look at the reasoning of the judge, because all arguments canvassed by all the parties are to elicit the understanding of the judge, and once the judge sees with you, you get judgment in your favor. And when it seems to be against you, it means that the judge has a different view, a dissenting view of what the situation is. The situation that presents itself is that from the perception of the court, as evidenced in that ruling, is that the Federal High Court and the State High Court both have concurrent jurisdiction. And if the Federal High Court has given its own ruling on the same matter, it means that even that court has also lacks jurisdiction, haven't ruled on the matter. It has become functus officio. And then a court of coordinate jurisdiction that does not have higher powers that are superior to the instant court, that's the Federal High Court in Abuja, cannot sit on the same matter that have already been dispensed with by a court of coordinate jurisdiction. So the window for aggrieved parties is to seek redress at an appellate court.
But then there was also a contradictory ruling yesterday by Judge Abdul Malik, I hope I get that name right, that says that status quo remains. So another Federal High Court yesterday, the same yesterday, gave a ruling that opposes that of Omotosho's.
Yes.
So how do you marry that? Because it was still the same case, different ruling, the same court, the same Federal High Court.
I'm sure some of these developments are part of what have influenced the judgment of Justice Wogu to avoid falling into the quagmire of having these conflicting thoughts, conflicting judgments on similar issues at the same time. And the court, in its wisdom, had declined jurisdiction to say, okay, a Federal High Court, two Federal High Courts have dissenting judgments and orders on this matter. The first court had said parties should maintain status quo. Once a court says parties should maintain status quo, it means that neither of the parties should take further steps
from that judgment. He also insisted that it's still a Disney's faction, and also said the 2024 appropriation bill that was presented to the Edison Ehe factor remains valid.
That is exactly
why the other court is invalidating it.
That is exactly what the court meant by saying that status quo should remain. The status quo is the position before the matter came to court. And that means a faction had already passed the budget. The budget had been presented. And mind you, subsequent judgments, one of the things that are quite remarkable about them is that they do not take into account, especially the judgment that seeks to get the governor to represent the budget, do not take into account or seems to lost view of the fact that the Edison Ehe faction of the assembly had a court order empowering them to proceed with legislative affairs, including that of the budget, the passage of the budget. And it was on the strength of that the budget was passed and duly assented to. And at that point, it had become law. And then under the doctrine of separation of powers, that process in itself had come to an end. In my opinion, and in my legal view, with the governor assenting to that bill. So if there was anything wrong with that bill, I think as a law, it has to be repealed because it's a law.
Interesting.
It has to be repealed. The law has not been repealed, and that is the law the way it is. It's like a judgment. You might not be comfortable with it, and it could be more unfortunate or pathetic if it's coming from the apex court, which is the Supreme Court, no matter how bad it is. Even if it orders a woman to change to a man, that is law. That is the pronouncement of the court. That is interpretation. So coming from the legislative end, the bill goes through hearing, first hearing, second hearing, and all that, and then the passage level, and then upon being assented to by the governor, it becomes law.
Okay.
Yes, and it's difficult. So now say you go and represent. That is a law already on its own. That is 2024 appropriation law. It's no longer a bill.
Interesting.
You can represent a bill if the bill was done halfway, or if it got to some level and it was withdrawn. But this is completed. It's a completed act. So we look forward to a situation where there could be proper reconciliation in the state. But we don't quite appreciate approaches that seem to make it look as if the governor is being humiliated or want to be subjected to some level. Of course, by hierarchy, he's the number one person. The speaker is the number 3 person. And so the governor should have that respect. There will be subsequent appropriation bills, which can be presented before the speaker.
Of course.
So if they actually intend to reconcile, they need to reconcile within the ambits of the law.
Okay.
And in a manner that would boost confidence.
Okay. All right. Now, Honorable Israel, as a politician, do you think these moves by the judiciary at this point in time, do you think it has any form of political undertone?
It's already politically instigated. The case went to court because of the politics involved. Now, but what I would say is this. I think,
what do you think are the political implications of this whole conundrum?
The 2 fashions still remains. There are 2 fashions already in a river state, and they still remains. Now, what is happening presently is that if the court maintains the budget as presented to the existing speaker by law, ADC, as of when he was, before he resigned. Now, if they maintain that particular budget that have been passed into law, it simply means that he was once a speaker. This is a contest that is going on between PDP in the River State. Now, the other faction don't want to recognize him at all as a speaker, even when court has given that order. Now, once this particular case is settled and that bill is not represented to the House of Assembly, it means that whatever happens within that period of time has been passed by that house and it must be recognized by River State government. And my dear, let me tell you something. So many things happened that short period. See, that few days, so many things happened. Now, anything that will make the court maintain that ADC Lehi remains the speaker as of then, was the speaker as of then, and whatever he has passed remain. That is when you start hearing all the things that we have passed.